Today we're doing an amazing, feel-good, full-body pregnancy yoga stretch class. This is one of my favorite classes because it feels so good. We're going to relieve tightness in the back, hips, under the ribs, as well as chest and neck. Because of the extra hormone relaxant that you have on board during pregnancy, you do want to be very careful when you're stretching, as you are at risk of injury if you're overstretching. We're going to do a really good yoga warm-up before we start our stretching. We're going to avoid any bouncing, and you always want to stay comfortable when you're stretching and make sure that you're not pushing to the point of any pain at all. You can do this video as a standalone video. It's a great video to do several times a week, but if you're following along with the Pregnancy Yoga Challenge, today is day 5, the last day of the challenge. I will link to the rest of the challenge in the description box below. If you're watching this video when it's first published, I'm also live in the chat, so you can come and ask any questions you have. Lastly, if you're enjoying these videos and you want to support me, don't forget to subscribe. Let's start in a comfortable seated position. If you find it easier to get length in your lower back, you can sit on a block or a pillow, or you can sit right down on your mat. Let's start with some gentle neck stretches. You can tilt your head to one side, releasing it up, switching to the other side. Going back and forth once more. Your shoulder can reach away. Let's half circle now to the other side. Good. Let's release our fingertips to the ground. You can take your right hand and reach up and over towards your left hand side, expanding through your side body. Exhale, pull your baby in, coming up, reaching over with your left hand. Good. Exhale, up. Let's bring our hands out in front and we can roll out our wrists. Good. Placing your hands just above your knees now. Let's round out for a seated cat pose, dropping your chin. And opening up through your chest now, looking up. We can open up our hands. One more time, rounding out. Inhale, opening up. Good, release. Let's take our right leg out to the side, keeping it flexed. We can reach up and over. Exhale, coming up. Taking your left leg out now. Hips are facing towards the front, reaching up and over. Exhale, pull your baby in. Let's come up. We can come up to a standing position, however is comfortable. Let's find our balance on our left foot. On an exhale, bring your right knee up. Let's circle our ankle out. Steady breaths. Going both ways. Releasing it down. Let's switch to the other foot, spreading your toes. Exhale, lift, circling your ankle. Going the other way. Releasing down. Let's come to the top of the right-hand side of our mat. Feet hip width distance apart or a little bit wider. We can sink back into chair pose. Exhale, pulling your baby in, coming up, We'll do 9 more of these. One more. Good. Let's step back with our left foot coming into warrior one. Feet can be aligned as if they're on train tracks, not crossed over each other. Raising your hands up. Let's turn our palms forward, and then we can draw our elbows down behind our back, reaching up, using your back muscles. One more time. Good. We can take our hands and grab our elbows, or you can clasp your hands. Let's turn slightly to the inside of our front leg, especially if your belly is getting bigger. And then we can hinge forward and coming back up. Good. Let's do one more, lean forward, and then we can take a little chest opener here, keeping your ribs pulled down and in. Release out. Let's come into warrior two, opening your hips to the front. Back foot is perpendicular. Next, taking your forearm on your thigh, reaching over, making a nice long line from your hand to the outside edge of your back foot. Palm can reach down and circle around towards the back of the room. Exhale, coming back to warrior two. Returning to side angle. Good. Warrior two, one last time. Coming up. Let's turn both feet forward. We can take a wide-legged forward fold, so slightly pigeon toe your feet in, and then hinging forward. You can stay halfway, or if it feels good, you can release forward. You can keep your hands on your hips or release your hands to the ground. If your hands are down, let's bring them back up to our hips, and with the lengthened spine coming all the way up. Good. We can turn to the top of the left hand side of our mat now, and we'll lower down into chair 10 more times, really sitting back in your hips. One more here. Good. Stepping back with your right leg this time. Warrior one. Taking a breath here. Palms face forward, and then using your back muscles, drawing your arms and your elbows down and back. releasing up. One more. Good. We can clasp our elbows or our hands. Turn slightly to the inside of your front leg, leaning forward, coming up. Good. Opening up through your chest. Exhale, coming up. Let's open up for warrior two on the other side. Shoulders relaxing down your back. Front knee pressing towards the back of the room. Let's hinge forward into side angle. Good. Keeping your legs where they are. Windmill back up, warrior two. Returning to side angle. Good. Back up to warrior two. Straightening your front leg. Let's bring our stance in a little bit for goddess. We can come down. We're going to lift both heels off, releasing them down. Good. Lifting them up, down. Let's release our hands to our thighs. We can drop one shoulder in for a nice stretch through your groin. Dropping the other shoulder in. Releasing up. Good. Let's shake it out. Let's bring our feet wide apart, toes facing forward. And we can start to lunge back and forth. You can continue to lunge back and forth, dropping through your hip to get a nice stretch. Or for more advanced, you can come down into almost a half yogi squat here, and then shift to the other side. The most advanced version would be no hands. Last one. Good, and coming up. Let's turn to our right for pyramid pose. Lining our feet up as if they're on train tracks. Let's hinge forward. Right hip pushes back in so that your pelvis is aligned. Pulling your kneecaps up. Releasing back up to a vertical position. Let's come on to your right foot. We can move into a quad stretch here. Or for advanced, you can press your foot into your back arm, getting a nice stretch through your hip flexor and your shoulder. Good, releasing down. We can switch on pyramid on the other side. slight hinge, lots of length in your spine, not rounding out at all. Inhale, coming up, shifting your weight to your front foot, taking a quad stretch, or for advanced, moving into dancer's pose. Keeping your baby pulled in to protect your core here. Beautiful, release. Let's shake it out and we can grab a sip of water. Let's find our way to all fours, but shifting our weight back onto our knees. And we can turn our palms forward, and without putting too much weight, just gently stretch through our wrists here. Gently releasing, and we can come to all fours. Weight on one hand and then stretch out through the back of your wrist. Releasing that hand, let's stretch out through the other one. Good, release. Let's take cat and cow, exhale, rounding out. Inhale, ripple your spine, looking up, moving with your breath. Good, back to a neutral spine, moving into some hip circles. Switching direction. Coming back up to all fours, and now we'll do hip circles, but this time pretend there's a pencil coming out of your tailbone, and you're going to draw circles on the wall behind you. Going the other way. Good. Let's walk our hands forward into puppy pose. Tucking your pelvis slightly so you're not dumping through your lower back. Pulling your baby in. Good, let's lift our forehead off and walk our hands slightly in. Let's bring our big toes together, knees slightly apart. And then we can walk our hands to one side for a nice side stretch. Good, and let's walk our hands to the other side. Almost get the feeling of dragging your hands back so you can round out, releasing under your ribs. Good, let's walk our hands back in. Coming back to all fours. We'll thread the needle now, so you can take one hand and threading it through. Other hand can be in front of your face, or you can release it behind your back here. Steady breaths. Releasing out of the pose. Good. And let's take that same hand that went through, we can walk it out beside us and then lowering down to get a nice stretch through the front of your shoulder. Good, gently releasing up. Let's thread the needle on the other side. Again, you can keep that hand in front of your face or release it behind your back. Keeping lifted through your lower back. Good, slowly coming up. We can press into downward dog, tucking your toes. You can also do this against a wall or an L stretch over a chair if downward dog doesn't feel good. Taking any movement that feels good, swaying back and forth, walking out your heels. Releasing it out of the pose. Let's come up onto our knees. We're going to move into a kneeling lunge here. If you have blocks and you find it hard to go all the way down, you can grab your blocks, or you can grab a thick book or even a couple of water bottles to hold on to. Let's bring one leg forward and gently releasing. Pressing your front foot into the ground and your back knee down and trying to drag forward. You can release down to your blocks, or if it's comfortable, all the way down to the ground. Steady breaths wherever you are. Keeping your legs active in the pose. Your big toe mound presses into the ground. Good, let's release. Coming up, let's bring our hands up for crescent lunge. Good. Shifting out of the pose. Let's switch to the other side. Keeping your legs activated. releasing out. Let's find our way to Baddha Konasana or butterfly pose. Again, if you wanted to sit up on a little pillow here or a block, you can. Let's stretch to one side. And if it feels good, you can walk your fingertips around in a circle, stretching out the different areas of your back. Until you've reached the other side. Let's go back the other way. Exhale, coming up. Let's take our feet wide apart, just as wide as feels good. Let's give ourselves a little bit of a boost here. Sitting up tall, knees and toes are pointed up. You can stay here, or if it feels good, you can hinge slightly forward. Continue to externally rotate your thighs. Good, inhale, coming up. Let's bring our left leg in, squaring our hips in front of our right leg. We can reach up and hinge forward. Good, let's come back up. We can bring our hands down and bring our left ankle over top, leaning back. We can walk in our bottom leg for a figure four or piriformis stretch. Finding length in your spine, knee presses away. Let's rock back and forth a little bit. Gently releasing. You can switch to the other side. Sitting tall on your sit bones. Sternum lines up with your front leg, lifting your arms up. Slight hinge. Good, inhale, coming up, moving into our figure four stretch on the other side. You can also do this sitting on a chair if it's uncomfortable on the floor. Rocking back and forth. Good, slowly release. Let's bring both legs out in front for windshield. Really working on your internal rotation, bringing that knee right down. Good. So you can either come up through standing for yogi squat, or you can shift to all fours and then bring your feet up. If yogi squat doesn't feel good, you can move back into butterfly, or alternatively, you could sit up on a block for your yogi squat. Bringing your hands up to prayer, letting your elbows release into your knees. While we are hanging out in yogi squat or butterfly, which is so beneficial for pregnancy and birth preparation, I wanted to share something with you, and it started from a book that I've been reading called Feel Good Productivity. I regularly struggle with anxiety and mom guilt and trying to find balance in the life of motherhood, and this concept has really helped me love and find more joy in motherhood. My tendency when I'm not getting the results I want is to just put my head down and grind and work harder. But research shows that when people feel happy, when they feel joyful, they're actually better problem solvers, and they're much more creative and efficient in solving their problems. Of course, they studied this in a lab, and they did a study where they gave people mind problems to solve. And with half the group, they gave them a gift before they went in, and the other half, they gave them no gift. So the people that said they felt happier by getting the gift actually solved the problem more quickly than the group that didn't get the gift, or that said they didn't feel happy from getting the gift. This really resonated with me when I thought about the number of problems that mothers have to solve. So if you think of a busy morning and you're tired and frustrated, and it's like pulling teeth to get the kids to get dressed, get breakfast, brush their teeth, and get out the door. Whereas if you wake up in a great mood, maybe you put on music, or maybe you surprise them with a little lineup of toys before they wake up, and they have a great morning, everything runs smoothly, and it actually goes way faster. For years, I've been skipping the things that bring me joy, like dance classes or yoga classes, or just a retreat in nature where I get some alone time. But I think I'm finally coming to the realization that it's not selfish to take care of me, because when I'm happy and I'm good, everything runs so much more smoothly. Our family is happier and much more efficient as a whole. So I hope that you continue to do self-care and find time for the things that bring you joy and happiness. All right, let's release out of our yogi squat or butterfly pose, gently coming forward, or you can stand up. And let's move into Shavasana. You can grab a bolster or pillows or blankets to get into a comfy position. Let's take a big breath in and sigh out. Again. Scanning your body from head to toe, relaxing all of your muscles. Melting into the ground, supporting you, feeling heavy. Feel free to stay resting here, or you can take any last stretch. Coming back up to a seated position. You are a wonderful mother already, and you are the perfect mother for your baby. I'm so excited for you and all the joy and happiness coming your way. Namaste to you. Namaste to the babies. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to link to the rest of the challenge right there, as well as my whole birth education playlist. I also have a pregnancy meal plan that I put together as a registered dietitian you can grab from the description box below.